this year.
Right.
Jesus Campos
Okay.
crossed the border at San Ysidro into where San Diego and Tijuana.
Okay.
Right there. Okay, that's where San Ysidro is.
All right.
All right. So he crossed that in January 2017.
Heading south or heading up here?
I don't know. It just said he crossed it.
Okay.
And that's the exact same spot in which he crossed in October of 2017.
Why did he go down there in October 2017?
I don't know. He went down after the
Huh.
Good
Interesting.
question. Well, yeah. How could he go down there?
Well, here's the other question. Which Jose went down there? There's
They all
about
look
3 or 4.
I'm assuming the Jose that was using somebody else's social security number.
Well, I mean, is it Ellen's Jose? Or is it the Jose that got the award? Or is it the Jose that's pictured on his very first day that was hired at Mandalay Bay? Because it's all 3 different guys.
Really looks different. Yeah.
Heck yeah, it does.
I don't know. Well, let's just say, for instance, it was one of those. Right? Well, he's got something in his leg, which we heard was a bullet, right?
Right, I guess. Okay. I mean, we heard it was a bullet.
We heard it was a bullet. It's 5 hours to get to the border crossing from Las Vegas. So he hasn't gone to the doctor yet. All right, that's confirmed.
Okay.
But I'm getting ahead of myself.
Yes.
I'm just letting you know. All
right. Okay.
This is all after the shooting. I don't want to get to it, but basically after the shooting, a couple weeks after, he still hadn't gone to the doctor for his leg for the bullet wound. This is confirmed by a subject interview, by the union rep, his union rep, and an interview, right?
Huh.
In an interview on mass media. Confirmed. He will get it sometime. Well,
700 miles round trip from Vegas, and he did it within just days. Mandalay Bay security guard Jesus Campos made a previously unknown visit to Mexico. It's 700 miles round trip from Vegas, and he did it within just days of Stephen Paddock's mass shooting, even though Campos was a major witness, maybe the major witness to the massacre, and apparently was shot in the leg during it. He raised a bunch of questions about the shooting, like whether Campos was actually a licensed security guard, whether he'd ever interacted with Stephen Paddock in the past. In a shooting with so many mysteries, they seem like reasonable questions, but so far police have stonewalled us, hung up on us, actually, when we asked them. Fortunately, the head of Campos's union is more forthcoming. David Hickey is the president of the Security, Police, and Fire Professionals of America, and he joins us tonight. Mr. Hickey, thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
So, our sense is that Jesus Campos's story is of great interest to his employer, MGM, and they're doing whatever they can to shape it. Is that your sense?
I think Mr. Campos' story is of great interest to everyone.
Yes, we agree.
Based on the tragedy, yeah.
So let me ask you a couple questions, just factual ones, because we don't know them. What was his job at the hotel?
Jesus is a security officer, or was a security officer at Mandalay Resorts.
Is he licensed by the state? How does that work?
No. Security officers that work directly for a company, in-house security, they do not have to be licensed. They don't have to have guard cards, security cards. If they work for a contract agency, then yes, they do.
Okay. We tried to get the answer from the Clark County Sheriff yesterday, and he wouldn't reveal that. You were aware that Mr. Campos went to Mexico shortly after the shooting, correct?
Yes, I was.
And what was the purpose of that trip? Do you know?
He told me directly that was a pre-planned trip.
Yeah.
He had planned to go visit family, and after the shooting, he was still capable of doing that. So he went ahead and made that trip on the weekend. I spoke with the local officers. I was actually going to fly in on that weekend, and because Mr. Campos was going to be visiting family and returning on Monday, then I flew in on that Monday to meet with Mr. Campos.
No one would begrudge the man a vacation, of course, but because he was a key witness in this investigation that was still ongoing and chaotic at that point, did investigators have qualms about him leaving?
Not to my knowledge. There were no qualms about him leaving because his plans had been made prior, and he intended to return on Monday, which he did.
By car, the whole up and back?
Up and back, yes.
Can you describe the nature of his injuries?
Mr. Campos was wounded in the left thigh. Two fragments of a shell hit him in the left thigh, and when I met him for the first time on that Monday, he was recuperating. He was in good spirits and looking to tell his story and move on with his life.
Had those fragments been removed when he took the trip to Mexico?
I was told one of them had been removed and one of them had not, and that they were going to deal with that issue at a later date.
Had Mr. Campos ever seen Stephen Paddock before the shooting?
Not to my knowledge.
Does he still work for MGM?
He still works for MGM, yes.
Did they set up the Ellen interview, his employer?
I don't know who set up the Ellen interview. We had 5 interviews set up prior to that. I know that when I was in town, Ellen's interviewer, the person that schedules the interviews, called Mr. Campos on his cell phone. He handed me the phone. I took the phone, responded to her that she could call to arrange an interview if she wanted, and then we didn't hear from her. And of course, after that, Mr. Campos was taken to a clinic on Thursday.
But why did he skip the interviews?
I can't speak for Mr. Campos on that. I've had no contact with him since that time. And, I think, it's Mr. Campos' story, and I think he has a right to tell it on his own. As far as we were concerned, we were prepared to do the interviews. We were 5 hours away from actually doing the first interview.
And then he disappeared with that explanation. Do you know where he went?
We received a text saying that we are taking him to the quick care.
And who's we? Who was taking him?
There was, when we left the room, we were having a meeting with 3 upper-level MGM management people, and when we left the room that we were in, or left the living room, it was Mr. Campos, one other security officer, a fellow member of the union, and then there was a corporate security officer.
Yeah, of course there was. MGM's in charge, clearly. Thank you very much for all of that. Really interesting.
All right, thank you.
Okay, how did he drive 5 hours at a minimum, 5 hours to get to the border? How did he leave the country, for one? But no, needless to say, he's got something in his leg, and he's going to get it fixed one of these days.
When did he do the interviews?
He did them. He did it actually. I believe it was beforehand, before he went to Mexico.
Which means before he went to a doctor.
Yeah, he hasn't gone to the doctor yet.
No, and did those interviews supposedly.
Right.
Got an award.
Yeah, a day after. Right.
Yeah, I mean seriously, think about that.
Okay. Yeah.
And confirmed that he never went to the doctor for a supposed gunshot wound. Okay? It's ludicrous to even think. I mean, if we think that this is for real, we ought to be ashamed of ourselves. I could actually come up with a better story, a better play than whoever came up with this.
Oh yeah.
Because
they went with
horrible.
the lowest bidder, man.
They went with the lowest bidder. Whoever concocted this really messed up, because it's jacked. It doesn't even make sense.
It would I would hate, and I have a lot of FBI friends. I would hate to be in the FBI. I literally, in 2016 and 2017,
the credibilities went downhill.
Yeah.
I mean, with all the Hillary stuff
and
and not doing anything with any of that stuff, and then the Comey stuff, and then this, and
Right.
and then they the release of the JFK stuff, and without certain pages. I mean, it's just the whole thing is a mess. But let's go back. Go ahead, man.
Okay, so we're going to continue because we got to get to the shooting, man.
We haven't even got to the shooting yet, dude. It's
there.
nuts.
All right, so PR Newswire on 5 September. All right, MGM reports, MGM Resorts today announced, this is 5 September of 2017, that its board of directors have adopted a $1 billion stock repurchase program. All right. Now, this is going to be interesting because you talked about a little bit of this, right? So 5 September, the MGM Resorts, Mandalay Bay is part of that.
A month prior.
Okay? Right.
Right.
They announce a $1 billion stock repurchase program. Jim Murren states, our new share repurchase program, along with the initiation of our quarterly dividend earlier this year, clearly highlights the board and management team's firm belief in our strategic plan, successful execution of our long-term growth prospects, our disciplined capital allocation strategy, and our ongoing commitment to maximize sustained value for our shareholders. 2 days later, 7 September, like you mentioned, the CEO of MGM, the same guy who said that statement, James Murren, sells 80% of his MGM stock. 2 days after he puts that statement out. Sells 80% of his stock. I mean, he's the CEO of MGM.
And
he sold 80% of his MGM stock 2 days after he tells everybody
to buy it.
To buy it, basically, yeah.
Right. All
right. So I just thought that was kind of interesting.
Very.
I mean, we're setting up for the shooting.
Oh, right? Yeah, definitely.
And I haven't even put in the Russian connection, So, 14 September. Now, Paddock, I've got it's just so confusing because you don't know what's real and what's not. So basically, what we agreed to at the beginning was, I'm just going to take stuff that I find.
Yeah.
People can tell us if it's fake news or not, or confirmed to be fake.
Right.
But all I can do is just take stuff that we find and put it in and see what happens, man.
Yeah.
I mean, really.
Yeah, I mean,
because it gets too confusing.
Well, it's because they've thrown a lot of fake out there. The actual players in this mess have thrown, in my belief, a lot of fake stuff out there to try to throw you off.
Well, to try to make most of us, like us, just stop looking at it because it's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, really, that's really what the objective is at this point, I think.
Yeah.
Is throw a bunch of garbage, and then those who really care about it just kind of throw the white flag and go, this is just fake. We're not even going to look at it anymore. We're going to divert our attention as well.
Right.
And it's done. It's over as far as everybody's concerned.
Right.
So, anyway, on 14 September, I've got here that Paddock actually appears to have stayed in downtown Las Vegas on the 14th of September.
Okay.
That's a lot earlier than the 25th.
Not at Mandalay Bay, but somewhere else.
Somewhere else. Right. Okay. But it kind of makes sense. Because on the 15th of September, the following day, Mary Lou Danley, his girlfriend, right? The Filipino girlfriend who's Australian.
Right.
Whatever. I mean, it gets bizarre, right?
Yeah.
She flies from the U.S. to the Philippines. That's according to Reuters, right?
Okay.
On the 15th. So that makes sense if he left on the 14th.
Right.
She flew on the 15th of September.
Yeah.
And she goes to the Philippines. On the 19th of September, at 3:05 p.m., Paddock used his Visa card to rent an intermediate-sized vehicle at the Phoenix, Arizona Sky Harbor International Airport.
That's weird. That's weird. He was just in Vegas.
He was in Vegas. Right. So, did he fly from Vegas to Phoenix? Nobody knows. It's like a 45-minute to an hour flight. There's only, and this was under the End Time News, right? The video,
right.
End Time News. Give them guys credit.
Yep.
They searched it, and great reporting. They searched it and said there's only one non-stop flight from Vegas to Phoenix, right? Who could have gotten him there prior to 3:05. It would have been the only reasonable flight.
Okay.
So he could have rented a car at 3:05. Okay? I mean, there's only so many, right?
Right.
And so there's only so flight 623 left Vegas at 12:35 and got there at 1:47.
Okay.
All right. So with the luggage and everything else, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And then it would have landed. It makes sense to sign the vehicle at 3:05. I mean, all of us fly, so we kind of know that would be the flight that we would choose.
Right.
You know? Especially if it's a one-way flight. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
That was 19 September. On 20 September, the following day, Paddock drops the rental vehicle off at 12:51 a.m.
Okay. Okay.
That's crazy, right? That's like 0051.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
In Vegas at 7135 Gillespie Street, Las Vegas. That's the following day.
Was he bringing weapons in?
Nobody knows that. He's innocent till proven guilty, man. But all we know is he was in Vegas on the 14th.
Right.
He was
Flew back.
Phoenix on the 19th.
Right.
Rented a vehicle at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Right? In Phoenix.
And drove to Vegas.
Drove to Vegas. Now, I ask you, what's the normal driving time in miles between Phoenix and Vegas?
I don't know. What is it?
Well, End Times News, right?
Uh-huh.
End Times News basically calculated this. And they said, look, the normal drive time between Phoenix and Vegas is 4.5 hours. 297 miles. However, it took Paddock almost 10 hours to get back, right?
Okay.
Because he left at 3, got there. Okay. Took him almost 10 hours to get back to Vegas. And the mileage on his rental car was 389 miles, which is 92 miles further than the actual.
Did he stop someplace? He went out of the way and stopped someplace on the way there.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying maybe he hit some mud slicks and, he was spinning his front tires, and...
Well, he probably went to go pick up the extra Jose's.
Probably. Yeah, people think he was picking up weapons. He wasn't. He was picking up 2 or 3 additional Jose's.
Yeah, he needed one for the award banquet and one for Ellen.
That's right. Exactly. One to cross the border.
And one to cross the border.
Yeah. It might not be too far-fetched to think
I'm just
about
saying.
That, right?
I'm just saying.
All right. So, anyway, that's an interesting dilemma. So, now... So, he's back in Vegas now.
Okay.
This is Paddock. He's back in Vegas. All right.
Active man. Very active.
He's a very active retired man.
Yeah. Yes.
All right. So, now, let's take into account another report that says from 17 September to 22 September.
Okay.
All right. So, we're really talking about that midweek there, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Paddock, supposedly, and this is from U.S. News. All right? I mean, Mass media.
Yeah.
17 to 22 September, Paddock rented 3 rooms in total at the Mandalay Bay Hotel over the course of a week. This is what U.S. News reported. From 17 to 22 September. Now, I have him up here under, it was a web cache on Wikipedia, right? So the 14th September, on his Wikipedia page for this, actually says, now I know people can edit that and everything, but the Wikipedia page said 14 September, Paddock appears to have stayed in a downtown Las Vegas, right? From the 14th. All right. The 17th to the 22nd, U.S. News says Paddock rented 3 rooms total at the Mandalay Bay Hotel over the course of a week. The first room was rented from 17 to 22 September. The second was 21 to 23 September. And the third was from 24 to 28 September.
That's weird.
It's getting confusing. So what I did was I split these up, all right, just to make it easier. So let's look at it. 17 to 22. He rents a room in the Mandalay Bay, right? From 21 to 23. Now, he's not leaving his other room until the 22nd. But a day before he leaves, he rents another room. So
right.
he's double booked, is what U.S. News is trying to say, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so then the 21st to the 23rd, he rents a separate room in the Mandalay Bay. Now, we don't know the room numbers.
Right.
All right. And then the 22nd to the 24th, he rents another room. I don't get it. Anyway, so from the 22nd to the 24th, according to another Wikipedia, right? This is all the Wikipedia. If you go to the Wikipedia page for Vegas shooting, this is where this is. I mean, I don't know who's putting this stuff on there, but again, it's just news, right?
It's, little tidbits. You never know what falls in place.
No, it gives you, it's an opportunity to go investigate.
Right.
So, hey, FBI, hey, local sheriff, investigate this, confirm or deny.
Right.
I mean, really, it's pretty simple.
Yeah. I don't know what. I'm sure,
Lord have mercy, come on.
It's crazy. What a botched investigation that looks terrible. It's... Yeah. It's really embarrassing for that department, honestly.
It is. Well,
very.
When you're talking about, okay, let's say, for instance, he's either paying for credit card or cash.
Yeah.
All right, credit card's trackable. He's either got points or he doesn't. That's trackable. The fact that he actually is in a hotel is trackable.
Right.
The fact he has a cell phone is trackable.
Exactly.
We could literally look at his cell phone GPS to tell where he's at.
Right.
At any minute and second of the day.
If I was in Vegas, I would be trackable through all the surveillance cameras.
Right.
Okay?
Absolutely.
It is such a setup, and I'm just trying to figure out, and I really hate to say that the motive behind that was money driven.
Mm-hmm.
But that's to me what it seems like. It was money driven, and he was the scapegoat that they shot and made seem like he was guilty.
Hey man, we haven't got to the shooting yet.
I know, but I'm just like jumping ahead a little bit. I'm like, it's horrible because you follow the money. It seems like all the time. It is.
So let's talk about Mary Lou.
Let's talk about Mary Lou.
On the 22nd of September, the day that he supposedly switched rooms, because between the 22nd, Wikipedia states that on the 22nd to the 24th of September, he rented rooms at the Ogden Hotel in North Vegas. Okay? So we should be able to confirm that, you would think.
Yeah.
That's Wikipedia. They have the hotel listed there. Has anybody mentioned the Ogden? No. All right. I mean, come on. So, easy to confirm. The day he goes to the Ogden, though, on the 22nd September, remember, Mary Lou, his girlfriend, is in the Philippines.
Philippines.
Yeah. She flies from the Philippines to Hong Kong. That's her itinerary. All right?
Okay.
That's according to Reuters. Just got to keep track of her. Innocent till proven guilty. 24 September, Paddock wires $100,000 to a Philippine bank, obviously in the Philippines.
Okay.
This is NBC News. Now, a lot of people report that he sent the money to her. Well, the fact is, she's in the Philippines over that period of time, right?
Right.
But he actually sent it to a Philippine bank in the Philippines. No one knows if it was actually for her or not.
Oh, I see.
All right. So that was on the 24th. So remember, on the 22nd, she flew to Hong Kong.
Right.
On the 24th, he's in the Ogden Hotel in North Vegas, and then he sends the $100,000 to the Filipino bank. Now, how did he send it? Where did he send it from? I don't know. Nobody knows. I'm sure it's trackable because anything over 10,000, well, anything is trackable. Right?
Anything is trackable.
All right. So anyway, that's something else for the Bureau to look at,
Right.
please. From the 24th to the 28th. So let's look on the 24th, all right? The 24th, Mary Lou's in Hong Kong. Right?
That's right.
Right. He, on the 24th, at least the morning of the 24th, was in the Ogden Hotel.
Right.
And he had just sent $100,000 to the Philippines.
Right.
Okay, perfect. From the 24th to the 28th, and I believe this was CBS News. U.S. News again. Paddock rents a third room from 24 to 28, supposedly out of the Mandalay Bay. So there are 3 rooms there reported by U.S. News. And the quote reads, we are told that the hotel does not guarantee, this was a Laura Loomer one, right?
Mm-hmm.
I believe, too. But we're told that the hotel does not guarantee rooms that have views, basically.
Okay.
Well, that's kind of interesting when every room has a view.
It looks like every room has a view.
Because it's 3. I mean, there's every room has a view.
That's weird.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, it doesn't make sense. But
all right.
and this was coming straight out of the U.S. News aggregator. So anyway, we are told, this was a quote, that the hotel does not guarantee view rooms, but for some reason, the hotel computer system has a note that guaranteed Paddock a view room. I'm assuming the view rooms may be the corner rooms, right? The suites.
Yeah, where maybe
suites.
there maybe more than one view. Maybe it's the
multi-view room.
You can see maybe a 180 degree view or something,
like the corners.
Right. Right.
Yeah. All right. So then, another report says officials still have not said where the gunman's first room was located. All right, in the Mandalay Bay.
How if we know that he's rented out 3 different rooms, why would we not have room numbers with those?
Right. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Well, as a fire investigator, would you want to know that? I mean, that's pretty easy.
Well, I'd say it's one of the top questions.
All right, so let's see. So first room, we still don't have it, right? Officials say we have not said where the gunman's first room was located in the hotel, but said that it was provided to him free of charge between 25 and 28 September. All right. Well, that probably makes sense, just because he was in the Ogden on the 24th.
Right. But if he got a room free of charge, you would know what room he got.
Well, you would think.
This is crazy stuff, dude.
Okay.
This is
if
nuts.
I gave you a room for free in my house, I'd probably know what room it was.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
Okay. And so when he switched to the corner suite, he added the name of his girlfriend, Mary Lou Danley,
Okay.
to the reservation. Why?
All right.
Why would he do that?
I have no idea.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I just wondered if you knew or not. I mean, she's in Hong Kong right now.
She's in Hong Kong.
Yeah, and he
know.
sent her there. I mean, basically, we've confirmed. He sent her there. So
wild.
sent her to the Philippines. And
Right. Right.
I don't think he sent her to Hong Kong. I don't know. Nothing says that he knew she was going to the Hong Kong, right? He knew, according to her, she was going back to see her family in the Philippines.
And we need to figure out why she's going to Hong Kong.
That would be one of the top 10 questions.
Yeah. That would be a top 10, man.
All right.
So
I don't know. When you were looking at money, was there a Hong Kong connection?
I
don't remember. Yeah.
You know, I'm sure there's many players, and I'm not excluding Hong Kong players.
Right.
You know.
So Paddock used his employee ID card. He used the employee ID card of a woman who sources referred to as his wife, which was his girlfriend. That woman, Mary Lou Danley, was not his wife, it was his girlfriend. Lived with Paddock, and sources say her ID was used by him to go in and out of restricted doors at the Mandalay Bay Hotel. Danley.
Let's back up for a second.
Yeah.
She's not there, so evidently someone else is using her card. Okay.
Well, we don't have that confirmed, but the time locks Zigbee system would pick that up.
Right. And you would know that when she used the lock, the video camera would be showing it, and they would know who did it.
Yeah, because whenever you do that, your picture comes up.
Well, it's a casino. You got cameras everywhere.
Right.
So you know when a guy, what time did that do that? Okay, let's go back to the tape and see what time that.
Absolutely.
You don't have to be a rocket scientist.
No. So
crazy.
So he uses her ID card.
Okay.
This is for the Mandalay Bay. All right, I'm gonna throw some more stuff at you.
Throw it, baby.
All right, so he uses her ID card to go in and out of restricted doors at the Mandalay Bay Hotel. Okay, so what that assumes is we know the doors that he went through. Right?
We know the doors that they went through, and was she an employee of Mandalay Bay?
All right, so you're getting ahead of me. Because right now, what we have is a report saying that he used her ID card to go through restricted doors.
So we know he did.
But we don't know, no one said which restricted doors he went through.
Right.
Why not? If you know he went through restricted doors by using her card, then we know you know what doors he actually went through.
Okay, now pause. If he's using her card to go through restricted, now who reported this? Who was it?
CBS Boston.
CBS. Okay, now so Paddock is using Mary Jo or whatever her name is, right?
Mary Lou.
Mary Lou's ID card to get in restricted places
in the Mandalay Bay.
In the Mandalay Bay, while she's in the Philippines or in Hong Kong.
Yes.
I didn't even know she had a connection to Mandalay Bay. And if he's using her ID card to get into restricted areas, that means she must have been an employee of Mandalay Bay's.
Okay. All right, I got it, man.
I mean, I'm just saying.
Well, and the fact that they know this confirms that they know which doors he went through.
Yeah, well, definitely. Because it's all recorded.
No, because the fact that they've said and they've
said it, and they've admitted
that it's restricted doors.
Right. And there's probably a printout showing what time and where, what door. They're all labeled. I mean, everything's trackable in a place like that.
Yeah. So Fox News comes on board. Now, look, I say Fox News and CBS Boston. These are some are local, some are national.
Right.
So
Right.
Says that Mary Lou Danley was actually working. Where she worked was the high limit. She was a high limit hostess.
Okay.
All right.
Because he was a gambler.
He was
supposedly.
Right. So video gambler. Okay.
Video gambler.
Yeah, I mean he did the videos, right?
Okay.
So she was working as a high limit hostess at the Atlantis Casino in Reno.
Okay.
Not Mandalay Bay.
Yeah. What was that all about?
I don't know.
That wouldn't give her access to Mandalay Bay's doors.
Well, and therefore would not give him access.
Exactly. What's up with that? This
one
whole
of the top
thing,
10 questions, man. It's one of the top 10 questions. We should call this the top 10 questions.
Yeah, with 100 questions in the top 10.
They're all listed as priority ones.
You know what? This is so basic stuff that it's ludicrous to even think. Okay? Because when you start digging, there is no question that has been answered.
No, it's really bad.
It's very bad, man. And I feel
I tell
bad.
you, the investigative activity that all the people on YouTube have been doing is phenomenal. Right?
Oh, it is, man. I mean,
it is really phenomenal.
I feel sorry for the victims, man, because this is such a goat rope that it.
Oh yeah, I would be furious if you or somebody I knew passed away there, because this does not do them justification, and it's horrible. It's horrible.
I would almost bet that there's many people, suing the city of Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Trying to, because of this bad, botched up investigation.
Sure. Well, that's the reason kind of we're doing this too, is because it needs to be justified. Their deaths need to come to some closure.
Right.
And the fact is that whoever's investigating this is not doing that right now, or at least not at a satisfactory level. And so the best that everybody else can do, because nothing literally makes sense, it wouldn't be bad if, okay, it's O.J. Simpson and the glove doesn't fit. I got it, okay?
Right.
But everything else lines up. Okay, the system, Bergdahl, right? Okay, so the fact that Bergdahl leaves his post, joins, the Taliban, and for years the government spent billions of dollars, multiple U.S. lives on this guy. He comes back. We know he deserted.
Right.
And we don't put him in jail. Okay, there's nothing we can do about that, but the facts remain.
Right.
Here, this is ridiculous. And
it's crazy. It's so messed up that I would be very, very upset.
Oh yeah.
I would be very upset.
Well, that's why I like, all of us are on YouTube. I think it's fantastic because we're all putting it in there, and obviously everyone's referring to everybody else's videos because ultimately something has to come out of this.
Right. Well, it reminds me, it's politics and money is what it reminds me of, because even in small government, you have investigations that you don't know why, or you have things that you're questioning, and the guys above you say, don't question that. Don't do that. Why? You don't even ask why. Because I said so.
No, right.
Don't go there.
Yeah.
To me,
sure,
that's what's happening in this investigation. There's basic questions.
Oh, sure.
That we've come up with.
Oh, yeah.
That the simplest guy out of the recruit class could come up with.